Hi, I'm Morgan Doremus with RT Book Reviews, and I'm talking to Sylvia Day today about her new release, which is 7 Years to Sin.
Yes.
And this, you go back to your historical roots a bit?
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about the story?
This story, every author loves their books, right? This book, actually, I really love it. And I can't...
More than normal.
Yes, yes. It was so much so that it's the longest book that I've written.
Mm.
It was almost 500 pages when I turned it in. And when I finished it, I was so sorry that I was finished with it. I wanted to keep going with it. I couldn't believe I had gone that long with the story because it's a relationship story. It's the hero and the heroine. So there's no spy plot, there's, nothing.
No suspense,
No, it's just two people. And actually most of the book, they're on a ship together, which of course are very close quarters. There's not a lot of secondary characters in there. It was just these two people. So as the book got longer and longer, I'm like, where am I finding so much to say about two people that are, you know what I mean?
They talk a lot.
Yes, yes, but that's what I loved about these two people, work their relationship out by talking about it. They fall in love through talking about it.
Well, so many times, and especially in historicals, they'll have like an issue, and then you're like, if they just sat down and had a conversation, the issue keeping them apart could be resolved, and they just don't. And it sounds like you really found a way to keep the turmoil. They are very, very different characters.
Yes.
And so there's a lot to work through. It's not just one, oh, I lied to you once, or oh, my ex got in the way. This is some very serious. She's a lady.
Yes.
And he's a bit of a never-do-well?
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes, and he's younger than her. And when the book starts, he's just past 16 and she's 18. So there's this huge gap between them when they first meet. And it's on the book starts with the eve of her wedding to somebody else.
And her name is Lady
Jessica.
Lady Jessica, yes.
And so she marries, and that's where the 7 years comes into the title. It's 7 years later when she's widowed. And she makes this trek to Jamaica, which her husband had a sugar plantation there. And the hero, at this point, has changed completely from who he was at the start of the book, which he was the fourth son.
Well, he was 16. You
Yes.
gotta give a little leeway for a 16-year-old.
Yes, but he was a very mature 16. And when you read the book, you realize what he went through in his earlier years that made him so jaded at such a young age, which was really her objection to him in the beginning of the book was, there's nothing restraining him. He's like living for himself in ways that she couldn't relate to at all because her life was so structured. So when they actually get together 7 years later, he has to work through all of those issues that made him who he was then, and she has to work through issues that actually come out as the story progresses. You realize that she has a lot of baggage too.
Absolutely. So why the historical? What do you find about that genre that really gets your heart?
It's a completely different style of writing for me. So actually, some authors have a readership that follows them no matter what they write. Nora Roberts is a really good example of that.
Absolutely.
Historicals, contemporaries, paranormals, futuristics. I mean, her readers follow her all over those. Mine are very compartmentalized. Those who like the historicals really don't go into the paranormals and vice versa, and that's because the style is totally different in the way that I approach the book and how I write the book. So I couldn't not write historicals because that's a subset of what I do that's completely different from some of the other things. Very much more relationship focused. Of course, there's all the historical research in it. It takes me a long time to write them, but I love them. That was my first. I never thought actually that I would write anything but historicals.
Really?
Yes. So I started out with historicals, and when other ideas came to me, I'm like, where are these coming from? I could be a historical romance author forever. But so it touches something in me to write those books. So, and I had a huge gap. This year, 2011. My last historical came out in 2008 because I had some other series that were coming out back to back, which kind of got in the way, and I missed them. And that may be why this book ended up going so long, because I had all these years worth of, I need to write a historical in me to get to this book.
Excellent. Will we have to wait for the next historical so long, or are you already started to work on that next one?
The next one comes out in October of 2012.
Excellent. So we won't have to wait so long for the next one.
No 3-year wait this time.
Well, I really appreciate talking with you today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.